When the Medal of Honor series was first created at the very end of the last millennium, it was still a pretty new idea to have a World War II shooter. Sure, there have been some World War II shooters before, especially if you consider games like Wolfenstein, but the genre didn't really explode until Medal of Honor hit the scene in 1999. Now, we all know the story of how a few of the developers left and started Infinity Ward, and then started their own World War II shooter series with Call of Duty. And of course, Call of Duty has redefined itself in recent years as a modern shooter, so what was the logical thing for EA to do? That's right, turn Medal of Honor into a modern shooter. This is Medal of Honor for the Xbox 360. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that this is going to be a strictly single-player review. The reason for this is pretty simple. Multiplayer is almost entirely based around who is playing the game, and since this game is getting overshadowed by some, more popular shooters on the market, I don't think my experience would be a fair account. With that out of the way, Medal of Honor's single-player campaign does a really solid job of sucking the player in. It revolves around real dates and real places, although the story is a work of fiction. This style actually serves the game pretty well, as it gives the player a sense of what was actually going on when the story takes place. As far as gameplay is concerned, Medal of Honor does control pretty well, mainly because it feels a little more realistic than most modern shooters. Weapons have noticeably more recoil than most games in the genre, so hitting an enemy will take a little practice. However, the developers also included the ability to change your rate of fire to semi-auto, so the recoil can be for the most part averted if you don't want to deal with it. In addition, death comes quickly. It only takes a couple of hits before dying, even on the low difficulty settings, so knowing where cover is located is an absolute must. That is, if you don't want to die. I have to wonder what was going through EA's collective heads when they decided to turn one of the greatest World War II franchises in the world into a modern shooter. The fact that the series was sticking to the World War II formula was actually what was making it different from other shooters. Switching time periods just makes me feel like they had the if you can't beat 'em, join 'em attitude. Well, you've definitely joined them.
Front gate any way you can. The ANA are arriving there now. Guys on the right, take them out.
Visually, I was actually quite surprised by how good Medal of Honor looked. The first few missions are pretty dark, but the game switches to an outside, middle-of-day level that really helps to show off some great lighting effects. Character models and faces aren't really anything special, but it really is the environments that got nailed with this game. Medal of Honor is an above-average game in nearly every aspect, but for the now overpopulated genre that it's entered, that might not be enough. Sure, everything in the game works very well, but it doesn't really show anything that really says, look at me, I'm better. However, it should be interesting for fans of the older games in the series to check out, especially if you also like modern shooters.
If he flipped, he didn't do it by choice. Get down!